there's two types of thinking that we do as humans. There's thinking that goes on, you don't think, you breathe, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just sort of farm that out. That happens in a part of your brain called the amygdala, which is like kind of the core functions. That's called system one thinking. System two thinking is where you're much more sort of deliberative in your thought, right? Like when you're learning mathematics, that happens that mostly in the front part of your head up here
Mm-hmm. Right.
for those. Okay. So what a lot of people have done with politics as we've moved, and this is why autocratic actors try and cloud the truth with, I don't really know what the truth is. So what it does is it creates system one thinking. Well, I'm just going to farm it out. I'll believe what Trump says. Then I don't have to really think about it. Because it's troubling to think about if it really were true that people were abducting pets and eating cats and dogs, or that babies were being born and aborted, or that or that illegals are voting, things that just aren't happening. You don't want to think about those things, right? Like you don't want to think about your vote being stolen. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to think about your pet being abducted. You don't want to think about a baby being murdered after it's born. Okay? What's happening is people are ending up using this. Do you know what the single, and this is from research that we've been doing and it's not fully fleshed out, but right now, what it seems through the research I've been doing, the single greatest factor with these people in terms of adopting, they're using system one thinking, and there's a lack of empathy when they're thinking in a system one way. Ironically, though, they have normal empathy when they think in a system two way, which is why when I have these conversations with people, a lot of times outside of Wisconsin, and I talk about my buddies who voted for Trump and some of the people I went to high school with who were MAGA, who you'd want as your neighbor because they're incredibly empathetic. When my mom was sick, some of the people who would be attacking me and saying terrible things about my involvement with the Lincoln Project were bringing me pizza because they knew I was held up in a hotel and my mom was dying,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they were stopping and thinking about it.
Right.
But what we've done in this world of conservative ecosystem, if you're listening to that weird lady over on the other part of the dial,
In Madison,
Vicky,
in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Vicky, sorry, in Milwaukee, who's constantly going off probably about people abducting pets and eating dogs,
Mm-hmm.
hypothetically, or whatever variant it is each day, or illegals voting, she's trying to get people to just simply, oh, well, that's the truth, because they don't want to actually think about it and ask hard questions and use system two thinking.
That's really interesting, and that's I think yeah. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, it is. It's
Because
fascinating.
we joke around a lot of this. Not joke around. We have a lot of fun and hyperbole. But I think what you just this is one of the things why I love traveling around the state and hanging out with Trygve because he just thinks at a different level than most of us as access to what you just heard, folks. This is the kind of stuff Trygve is doing all the time, and the
So
amount
I,
of data you're gathering. It's so helpful, I think, for people to hear this and to help us understand it. And that was a great answer.
well, we have an op-ed I've been working with, and ironically, I've known this person for over 40 years. We met at something I got lucky enough to go to when I was a sophomore in high school, and we met. She was
Mhm.
from Oklahoma. She's one of the leading experts on behavioral psychology in the world.
Wow.
She and I have an op-ed that we're trying to get placed where we talk about Taylor Swift and Swifties and Donald Trump and MAGA. They're built on the same basic psychological underpinnings: community, network, being a part of something, vested ownership, etc. But at the most basic foundational level, they're built on something totally opposite. Taylor Swift is built on empowerment through community and the psychology of, yeah, I'm going to share a friend bracelet with my
Hmm.
friend, even though it's somebody I don't know. And like I'm in Poland at a Taylor Swift concert with 15-year-old Polish girls coming up to my daughters and I saying, will you be my friend? And giving me a friendship bracelet. And I'm saying, oh, I'd be honored to be your friend. Be my friend too. And we're
Hmm.
switching these bracelets that we've made, right? Like that's a sense of common community around empowerment and
Right.
good. Then you have Trump rallies, which are all about grievance. We're going to farm the grievance out to Donald Trump. In both cases, the people are wanting co-ownership, but in one case, the person is using it for good, and we're all part of this together, Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
And in another, the person is saying, enraging the grievances and saying, I'm the answer. You'll never have to vote again. You'll have nothing to worry about if you just put your faith in me.
You don't have to think.
It's the same psychology of micro steps, which is where Amy's expertise is, that get people to buy in, but it's being done for the exact opposite outcomes.
Fascinating.